On January 24th, 1848, gold was discovered in California, and the California gold rush began. This began the largest mass migration in the history of the United States. Now, hopefully today, another gold rush will begin at Genius Network. Yes, there is gold right in your hand if you know how to mine it. And you will know how to mine it after you hear this 10-minute talk by David Hill. For over 35 years, David has used these techniques himself and taught them to thousands of others on how to use the telephone to mine the gold that's buried in your prospect list. David's best-selling book has all of the strategies, scripts, and selling tools you'll need in order to mine your own gold. You'll be getting this book as a gift as a Genius Network member. Earlier in David's career as a Keller Williams realtor, he sold over 1,100 homes and earned the recognition of being in the top 1% of realtors. David is a sales guy from the streets of Boston, and he has perfected and simplified his powerful gold mining techniques into a very simple system. That's why he's called the Phone Coach. David has his second book coming out in March. It's titled How to Make Even More Money Working Fewer Hours in Real Estate. David also has a successful podcast that have featured people who have mastered the selling process, such as Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Mel Robbins, Brian Tracy, and our own Michael Burnoff and Benjamin Hardy, just to name a few of David's guests. No matter what your business is, no matter what your product or service is, or how successful you are, there is truly a gold mine waiting for you. David's title is, There's a Gold Mine in Your Pocket. Please help me in welcoming David Hill.
Thank you, Tim. Much appreciated, sir. And a few years back, Jay Leno held up one of these things on the show, and he said, you know, we do everything with these things, everything except call people, right? So I'm going to ask everybody to hold up your phones. Now, Joel and I went over this 6 times, and I know earlier Jerry told everybody to put away their phones. So I'm like, all right, we got a little glitch, but if you have your phone, please hold it up. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to go to your contacts, just like me, and go to the Z's. Okay, so just hit the Z and then scroll all the way down to the bottom. So as you're scrolling down to the bottom, what's going to happen is when you get to the bottom, you're going to see a number, and that's how many contacts are going to be in your phones. I ask you to put that number in the chat box, please. And I'm going to start my presentation now. All right, so Tim, can you just confirm you can see the slideshow, cell phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So as Tim said, the name of this talk is There's a Gold Mine in Your Pocket. And the goal for today is to help you to extract some of that gold from the mine. So you guys have probably seen now, if you look at the feed, some 300, 500, thousands, thousands of contacts in some cases. And we're typically in touch with anywhere from maybe 5 to 10% of those people. So now I want you to look at your CRM, which is your contact relationship manager, through that same lens. However, and that's going to be your database, right? Infusionsoft, Constant Contact, whatever you use. However, these CRMs typically have a lot more people, right? Like 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. Probably in this room, some of you have 500,000 people just sitting there. So we do a better job with our CRMs. We know that. But it's usually maybe 25%, 40%, and with good automation, up to 50%. So the question really for you is, how many of those people are you in contact with now? Or maybe a better question is, how many of those people fell through the cracks? So Dean Jackson calls these people the unconverted leads. I like to call them the gold mine opportunities, because there's hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars just sitting there waiting to be extracted. So the next question is, McKenna, how many of you now use your phone to make sales calls? And if you're using it all the time, put a 10 in the chat. And if you never do it, use a 1, and then anything in between. Okay. And then McKenna, let me know when you have a number, an average. So the purpose of today is really to help you to close more sales by reconnecting with some of these people. You know, and I understand some of you may or may not be taking on new business, which is fine because you'll create some other opportunities by reconnecting with these people.
David, the average is 7.
Okay, so this is a pretty strong group, but we still have some opportunities, so that's excellent. So for everybody else, there's a great opportunity now to go reconnect with some of those people. And I know we all have systems in place, you know, systems like the 9-word email, which is I use it, it's fantastic. We also use Facebook ads, same thing, I use them both. The challenge with these tools is they work great until they don't work. And then you get nothing. See, what we're trying to do is get into a conversation. And then we get in a conversation, we know we can control that conversation. And the next thing we're going to get is feedback, right? And when you have feedback, now we have a way we can handle objections. We can move forward, we can move backwards, we can make suggestions. You know, Bright Local did a study on Google Pages a few years back, and they showed 60% of people preferred to be in contact with their service providers over the phone over other communication sources like email, chat, or text. So my goal today is, listen, I'm not saying stop doing what you're doing. The purpose of this is to enhance what you're currently doing. A few years back, worked with a real estate group. They were doing about 17 million a year in volume. By simply helping them hire an ISA, which is an inside salesperson, this is a person professionally trained to make calls, and having their top 3 agents just spend 45 minutes a day on the phones, they took their business the next year to 28 million. That's a 35% increase in sales. Let me ask you this. Who would like a 35% increase in sales? Okay, like one person. Okay, well, okay, excellent. Well, great. So now that you are thinking about this and you're probably getting excited about it, a little thing called call reluctance is going to kick in. And that's that little voice in your head that's going to start saying weird things, right? And
we've been trying to reach you concerning your call.
yes, that's the little voice right there. He's trying to reach us right now. So the little voice, because we all have one, right? And how do I know that? It's exactly what Tim said, because I've been doing this for 35 years. So what I want to do is I want to give you a gift, okay? The gift is a copy of the sales playbook. And I'm going to ask you right now if you could take out a pen, and I want you to write these pages down. Pages 34 to 39, because there's going to be an exercise that's going to help us through call reluctance. And there's really 5 types, okay? There's 5 different types of call reluctance. I'm going to touch briefly on each one. The first one is fear of rejection, by far the most common. No one likes rejection. No one likes being told no. We all want to look good. We want to be right. The key to this one really is just to take your ego out of it and make the conversation about the other person. The next one is lack of role acceptance, right? So here you're actually making calls, but in your mind, you're like, man, these calls are kind of below me. Or maybe your parents said things like, wow, you know, when you were a little kid, you heard them say things like, those damn telemarketers just won't stop calling the house. So there's an incongruency here. The next one is not knowing what to say, right? This will take a fearless salesperson, turn them into a deer in headlights. The good news is it's an easy one to fix. The next one is overanalysis, right? This is the one that actually tells you you're doing your job. You're getting ready to get ready to get ready. You know, you're getting ready so much, nothing ever gets done. It's a form of procrastination. And then the 5th one is what we call fear of success. It's a tricky one. So let's say you had success in an area, but it was way harder than you expected. Now you don't do that again. So you can see these are all mindset tricks. So my tip for you today is to come from contribution, because when you're coming from contribution, you can't lose. So I'm going to share 2 simple reconnection scripts. The first one is the apology script. So we start the conversation with people by simply apologizing for not following up sooner. It's great for people we had conversations with. It's for people we had relationships and we did not do a good job staying in touch. They fell through the cracks. What it does is gets people to put their guard down. I've even had people say, no, I apologize to you. This sounds like, hi, John, this is David giving you a quick call from ABC. You know, I know it's been a few years and I want to start off by apologizing. You stop there, let them respond, and then get right into it. You want the response. The next one is the closing the loop. Very similar to the apology. We start the conversation by getting right into it. being clear and concise. It's great for people we had conversations with, and again, we didn't do a good job of staying in touch, or maybe they didn't return our calls, right? It gets people to put their guard down. And then we get to ask great questions like, have you bought yet? When do you plan to buy? And we can set up a follow-up plan. Sounds like this. Hi, Mary. This is David from ABC. You had requested info on our site last year, and we wanted to close the loop. Have you? Whatever, right? Like magic, people are going to tell you what they plan to do next. I've even had people thank me for calling and closing the loop with them. So there's 2 call to actions today. I already gave you the first one. It's to read pages 34 to 39 in the sales playbook and do the exercise. The second one is a challenge. I want to challenge you to make 20, I want not make content. I want you to have 25 conversations over the next 30 days. Okay, even if you're planning to hire somebody to make these calls, it's important for you to experience the value of these calls for yourself. And you're going to see the opportunity that's in making these calls. You know, this is a normal challenge I put out, and we get great results. This is not a normal group though, right? This is not an ordinary group. This is an extraordinary group. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to say, I want you to make 5. That's it. Have 5 simple conversations over the next 5 days with people. And if you do that, I think it's virtually impossible that you won't find at least one piece of business. So the most important thing I want to leave you with today is come from contribution. Because when you're coming from contribution, you just can't lose with these calls. Oh, hey, there's a call coming in right now. Gotta go.